Hello everyone and welcome to my presentation. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to IABL conference organizers for the opportunity to present my paper on unraveling the multidimensional structure of information literacy for educators, and particularly for those who are passionate about blended learning and blended learning environment. As we know, blended learning in its simplest definition seeks to find a fine balance between two different components, and one is face-to-face learning of a classroom environment and the other one online learning environment. My study, however, highlights a third component here, which in my opinion provides the basis for both environments and is worthy of your consideration, and that is information environment. In today's world of rapidly proliferating information and the emerging trend to integrate digital world with in-class teaching, it is not hard to foresee the difficulties or challenges students or learners may face in the information environment, with information overload, with poorly organized information. And these challenges proposes the significance of information literacy and also the purpose of my study, which is to unravel the complexity of information literacy in the digital age through developing a framework for a better understanding of it. Several procedures were taken to make sure high quality of review of the literature. I have used peer-reviewed journal articles for 1 decade of the 21st century, a wide range of keywords related to information literacy, a variety of well-established educational databases. The reference section of the key articles were also examined to add additional and relevant articles, and key online journals on information literacy were also examined. The search process produced 100 peer-reviewed articles. Based on a comprehensive review of the literature, a new framework is proposed. This framework is the multidimensional framework for understanding information literacy in the 21st century. And this unravels the intricate structure of information literacy by organizing its themes into 5 major dimensions, including cognitive, technological, social, affective, and metacognitive dimensions. The cognitive dimension of information literacy. In both education and information literacy, the cognitive dimension enters when there is a need to make a distinction between different types of learning activities or learning objectives. Now, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor by Bloom in 1956, or cognitive, affective, and physical by Kutlaw in 1991. And the reason is the cognitive process incorporates tacit and complex mental processes that cannot be captured in one single definition. In my review, the themes that emerged as a result of analysis of literature associated with the cognitive dimension includes these 11 themes: being aware of information need and information sources, perceiving and the connection between the perception we have of the usefulness of information and our level of engagement with information, and the exploration process of information detection and how information is organized, disseminated, and delivered in various forms, in various modes and media, and comprehending, problem solving, critical thinking, evaluating, analyzing, creating, and presenting or sharing information with others. The second dimension of information literacy is the technological dimension, which includes digital media and technology affordances. Digital media and technology simply refers to a wide variety of software and hardware tools, and as well as our operational skills to be able to use them. But we all know that technological proficiency is far beyond just being able to use those tools or having access to those tools. And that's led some researchers to explore technology affordances, or the potentials technology have for specific purposes such as communication, collaborations, etc. And that reshaped our understanding of technology in a way. And Web 2 is a good example. And before the emergence of Web 2 technology, information literacy were or the tools associated with information literacy were search engines and online databases or databases. However, with the emergence of Web 2 technology, there was a shift of the role of the users, and it shifted the role of users in information literacy from being a passive consumers of information to active producers of information, because now the users were able to create, to communicate, and to share information. The next dimension of information literacy is the social dimension. Traditionally, information literacy has been viewed as an isolated activity, an interaction between individuals' conscious mind and the media he or she seeks to examine. This has changed, however. Now information literacy is viewed as a social practice, and our cognitive process is not sufficient to learn and use the information we get. One needs to also get engaged in the dialogue for the clarification of information. The themes emerged from the study of social dimension in this literature includes social interaction, responsibilities, and context. And within social interaction, collaboration, communication, sharing, and community, and how individuals process information within community, how is it different from individuals outside of the community, as well as the responsibilities. And we know that the ethical and responsible use of information has become more complex in today's digital landscape, and the scope of information literacy has also expanded to include issues related to privacy and security, safety, and to context and the importance of context, and how the political, social, economic ideology plays a role in the background of the information we are seeking. The affective dimension of information literacy. Obviously, the affective dimension refers to emotional challenges we face while we are interacting with information. But by acknowledging the affective factors, we are paving the way towards developing affective competence. The themes that emerged as the analysis of literature related to affective dimension in my study are attitude, anxiety, interests, motivation, uncertainty, and self-efficacy, and the relationship between them and our engagement with information and our information performance. And finally, the metacognitive dimension of information literacy. The concept of metacognition, or thinking about one's own thinking, has been further developed to include more categories in the literature. And my literature review emerged several themes, including self-knowledge, which refers to our ability to explain how and why we have reached to certain conclusion as a result of information seeking process, and strategic knowledge, or the procedural knowledge that we use when we are not successful in our information seeking process. And finally, self-regulation, which is taking control of the other metacognitive dimensions, such as self-knowledge and strategic knowledge, by monitoring And self-assessment, for example, is one way of monitoring the other aspects of metacognition. Several implications can be drawn from using multidimensional framework developed in this review. And what is the most relevant is that this multidimensional framework can play the role of a pedagogical tool by educators in digital or blended learning environment. It helps us to recognize the lenses through which we are viewing information-seeking behavior. It also helps us explore the possible reasons why some students do not demonstrate acceptable educational performance. Thank you for listening.